right. All right. So, Grand Rising, everyone, and welcome to the Daily Huddle. I am Chase Steele-Gray. Thank you all who are listening and vibing in from all over the world, all different platforms. If this is your first time here, we are the Daily Huddle, coming to you daily with all sorts of amazing gems, from success to passion to spirituality to money. And today happens to be Health and Wellness Wednesdays. Now, I have a special guest today, and I'm going to begin by telling you an interesting story because that is actually what prompted me to bring the guest on for today. So the story goes like this. This watch that I'm wearing, I don't know if you guys can see it. I'm going to take it off and show it to you. It's called, let me see. Yeah, it's called Normal Zeit. Hard to see because of the way the camera is set up, but this is it's a Viennese watch. What do I mean by that? Well, if you know anything about Vienna, in the streets of Vienna, oh, I can't do it that way. The clocks are shaped like this. I'm doing it the wrong way. You got to go backwards on the screen. The clocks are shaped like this, right? There he is. And I'm going to tell this story before I bring Freddie in. Freddie, are you there?
I am here. Hello, good
Perfect.
morning, everyone.
Perfect. So I'm in the process of telling this little story about us. And then
I noticed.
I'm, I'm going to bring you in. So I'm going to make the story short because I want to concentrate on you. But as I said, the long story short, I, I saw my father wearing this watch one day, and he had to stop wearing it because of his carpal tunnel. So he said, "Here, take this watch." I got it in New York at the Noy Museum, and I was like, "Wow, this is amazing! I love this watch. Speaks to my aesthetic, right? The black, the silver, the utilitarian vibe, the strength. I just love everything about it." So after having the watch for I don't know how many years now, 4 years, 5 years, hard to say. One day I noticed the watch had a little bit of a opening here. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is my special watch. Let me figure out how I can get this fixed. I didn't open it. I didn't do anything because I was so nervous about it. I was like, wait a second. So I found this number online. I found the site. I called this guy. He didn't answer once. He didn't answer twice. I emailed him, and then he called me back. And I thought, oh my gosh, he called me back. This is amazing. And on the day when I connected with him, Mr. Robert Broadman, in no way, shape, or form did I think I was actually speaking to the person who created the watch. I thought I was going to be speaking to the person who serviced the watch, speaking to the person who's in conjunction with the people who service the watch, maybe even the person that just sells the watch in New York or New Jersey. This man that we see before me is the man who created this watch called Normal Sight. And he spoke with such fluidity and such um, connection that I felt like I knew him from my whole life. I don't know why. It was just like we just started popping. And the reason why I brought him here today for Health and Wellness Wednesdays is because he has a certain fervor about him that I believe is worth speaking to and asking, how are you here? Where is this excitement, this go-getting, this, creating that, doing this, working with that, and being as excited as a child, in my personal opinion? How do you do that, and how do you sustain engaging in this passionate journey that you're on? I'm completely fascinated by you. I want to know more about how you got here. And welcome to the Daily Huddle, Freddie.
Well, yeah, thank you so much for introducing me to your community, first of all. And secondly, I can only say the same about our phone call. And the reason why I hadn't responded earlier was because my wife and I were in Croatia for an amazing week with my partner, who I created this watch project with
Right.
in 2014. And actually, next May we will celebrate 10-year anniversary of our brand. And that's the time where people say when a brand can survive for 10 years, it has validity. And of course, I'm very proud that it has that validity. Of course, I'm also excited to run this ship since the beginning because for me, it has reconnected me with my hometown, Vienna, which I had left in 1979, kind of in frustration and in kind of a little anger because in those days, Vienna had a mentality running through society which was very negative. It was not really favoring people with enthusiasm and with passion and with ambition. So I felt very claustrophobic in the society. And as soon as I could, I left. And then, of course, New York was the challenge to measure my artistic forces and creativity with the best in the world, because we must admit that New York still has that. And 40 years later, almost, I'm still here with some detours back to Europe and an interesting journey in general. But if you want to know why I am the way I am, then I guess it's also partially genetically based because I come from family that has music and show business in their blood. And I always grew up with a mix of family drama, but also a lot of sense of humor. And the satirical, cynical mentality of the Viennese is, of course, also entrenched in my soul. So that's in a nutshell what I am. And the inner child hasn't been killed by all the challenges to date. And I don't know. I don't think that I work really because my passion is my fuel. And every day is a new beginning, and I love people. And I try to let everyone be who they are, even if I don't like them.
I like that. I like that a lot. Now we spoke about some of the things that you've done, and I would love for you to tell the people who have not met you so serendipitously as I have, to let them know what you are doing and what you've done since the watch. I know you've created a couple other things, and of course,
Yeah,
these earbuds are really distracting me that you have on. They're very unique looking, but we'll come back to that. We'll come back to that.
I like orange
Ah, you like orange. That's what it is. So you had you got to coordinate. Coordinate. That's from an Eddie
always.
Murphy movie. That's from an Eddie Murphy movie. That's a reference. Anyway,
Yeah.
you created a couple of other things. Please tell us about those things.
Yeah, well, my background is graphic design and illustration, and I have a very strong experience in typography and logo development and branding. So
Hmm.
those kind of core pillars were basically the foundation of my journey as a creative. Over the decades, I've been in advertising for many years. I've been an editorial cartoonist. I've published many cartoon books in Europe. And then I also developed some sporting goods. I have a patent for a new ping pong paddle, which I had launched in 2008 at the time where the watch business was not really that good. But I also worked in branding of watch companies, licensing sporting brands like Puma and Reebok and had over the years. And I have kind of an intellectual mechanical brain. So
Right.
although I'm not an engineer, I'm able to understand the gears of technology. And my sense of humor has also led in 85 to a very interesting transition from cartooning and graphic design into the watch industry because I had an assignment from an magazine in Munich. I was supposed to draw cartoons about time, and that's a very philosophical subject to begin with. You can make it very deep, but you can also poke fun of it. And the graphic designer in me then was able, because it coincided with Swatch coming out in 85 too, with fun watches, the first time that you had affordable, well-made, fun product available for the rich. And I translated those cartoons, these time jokes, into watch dials. And by coincidence, I was introduced to a very big German watch company, got my first gig. Watch Me by Alfred Broadman was launched, and the rest is history, as I say.
I like that sentence. The rest is ristery.
Yeah.
Very slick. Very slick. You
Yeah.
said that to me before, and I went, huh,
Yeah.
ristery.
Yeah.
So, what is your personal relationship with your particular health and wellness and time? How do you connect those two together? Because time is really on your radar, this interworking of these mechanical things. How do you navigate your everyday life? Is time important to you? Do you not spend that much time speaking about time? Are you living more?
I would say I live time because, we have this saying in society that time flies or time goes by. But
Right.
I say time is, but we go by. So
Uh,
time is looking at us and sees us basically come and go since ever. And that's my reverse outlook on life and death, of course, as the end game. And I'm not really afraid of it. I already had a heart attack because of genetic reasons. And I kind of had this um, very interesting experience on the bed in the surgery room where I was thinking like, I'm going to be now conked out by the narcotics. And then I said, hmm, will I wake up or not? Either way, I live. But then I was
mm,
allowed to wake up. And since then, it has also had a very positive influence on my conduct and my induction of things. So I'm a little bit more aware, but I feel very alive and very strong. And I also think that my passion for life and for people is my driving force in my daily challenges.
if I were to ask you, again, I'm harping on this time thing because I believe that in a sense, time is so heavy on certain people that it makes them older quicker in some ways. And for you, how how do you feel in your body? If I had to say, if I close my eyes and say, Freddie, how old do you feel today? Could you put it into numbers?
I couldn't. I feel the same since I was born.
Yeah.
I was maybe bored as a child more often than now, but boredom has actually left my system long time ago. I would say if you comb your brain in a way that you leave the things you cannot change behind and you don't harp on them so that you don't become paralyzed. Because I think that what happens to people is when they are not able to let go, then everything encrusts their system. And that is possibly the reason why people get stiff, get angry, get bitter. And when they get um, stiff and bitter and angry and become intolerant and judgmental, then they basically ruin their body and their mind and their soul. And I've been able over the years to work on these symptoms also in myself because it's like all thoughts are like a moving belt in your brain, and you can latch on, or you can just let them go through the room and let them out on the other side in the other window. And I try to let things go and look at the words that go through my head and the ones that have a negative impact. I'm just not addressing anymore. So I'm
Mm.
basically cleansing myself every day, and I have a good filter meanwhile. I mean, by age, I'm 68. So I have to say the years can also be a trophy in a person's life because you can make your life enriched by experiences and not get overwhelmed by them. So the more time you spend on the planet, the more you see, the more you learn, and so on and so on. So it's actually a very simple outlook on daily life.
Right, right. Now, from your part of the world where you're from, there are a lot, I believe there are a lot more practices in place that deal with health and well-being and nutrition and a lot of great things that people do on that side of the earth. Have you brought any of your wellness practices from your homeland? Like what kind of foods do you consume, or what kind of things keep you in this kind of fluidity? And you know I'm going to ask you about books because I love books, and I know you
Mhm.
must have a book or two that has been with you that you love.
Well, nutrition-wise, I would say the same that goes into what you let into your mind, goes into your food policies. I try because I grew up with a mother who was an amazing chef,
Mm.
both for real food and for pastries and sweets because she was Hungarian. And
Wow.
I grew up with the luxury of having like gourmet food every day at home. And my mom would not allow any garbage into the kids in her kitchen. And I
That's
learned from that that not too heavy, not too much, not too greasy. I mean, of course, everybody had Coca-Cola and a hamburger in life, but I try to keep a very healthy diet. Uh, I am not a vegetarian, but I am both. But when I eat meat, I eat it maybe once a month, twice a month. I know the impact of beef on the system. I know the impact of butter, of fried. Yeah, but you have to also sin and live a little. You cannot only be Holy Ghost. Although some people are Zen, I think you are much more Zen than I am because I do like my wine and I like my occasional cocktail. But in general, I think when my doctor in Vienna told me, whenever you have something, you should rave about having that. And whenever you rave about what you eat or what you drink, and then it goes through your body and it doesn't stay. And that
wow.
is, I think, the cycle which allows to prevent your body from uh, getting too toxic, intoxicated, you know?
Right, right. When you work in the city, correct? So, and then
Yes.
you go out to New Jersey. When you came to New York, or maybe even now, do you have like a kind of like a guilty pleasure in New York that happened when you came here? Like something you see it, you're like, oh my goodness, I gotta have that. It's so good.
You know what's funny? We are actually talking here, and I am in my favorite coffee shop where I pass by every day. And this is um, the Belgian coffee shop. It's Le Pain Quotidien, the daily
Oh,
bread.
of course, yeah. I know. I go all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I go at least once a week to this coffee shop. They know me since 4 years. They make my coffee already when I come in, and I have a cheese Danish.
Ah,
So I decided today I'm going to stay here to have this conversation with you and your community. So
I
I'm
love
sitting
it.
in the corner, and it
I
has
know
this
that place.
cafe culture, you know. So that's my guilty pleasure.
Yes,
Although
yes.
now, since the heart attack is over 2 years ago, I'm not having it every day. I have it maybe once, twice a month.
Amazing. I was going to ask you, why are you in a place that says tastes even better on the ceiling? Thank you for answering that for me. I was like, huh, I like that. Tastes even better. Where is he right now? I know where you are now. I know
Yeah.
exactly where it is now.
Yeah, yeah. We all have our spots, our favorite spots in New
We
York,
have our
and
spots. Yes.
and
And
we
I'm
need
very,
those.
very happy to introduce you to some of mine when I see you the next time because I'm coming to
Well,
visit.
I look forward.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Um, so I would love to hear if any one of the community have a question for Freddie. And the last part of that story about the watch, and I have to give you your accolades because I just think it's amazing. The patience that you had with me on the phone, when I actually opened up this watch while on the phone with Freddie with a
That
basic
was funny.
a basic screwdriver, and I took the watch open and I was like, wow, because I love mechanics. And I was like, this is beautiful. And he was like, okay, open the watch up. Now you see those other four screws. Let's see if they're tight or they're loose. And I tightened them and I wiped the watch off and whatever. And I fixed it right in front of him. And I thought,
Yeah.
this is so cool. And then I called my father and one thing after another. but I believe that these connections are supposed to happen the way that they happen. Right? Whatever, whomever, whatever is the higher power above, weaved these moments together so that we could connect and create this sort of symbiotic energy. And you have all these things you're creating. I have things that I've created. You love watches. I love watches. We're in the same city. We're creating things. It's like all these things happening together. I don't believe that there are any mistakes, not one.
No, there aren't.
Even the bad, you think the bad people that you meet or scrape you, there's always a lesson somewhere in there. And I really feel that you and I are going to do something. I don't know what it is, but there's something underlying here that I'm like, wow, like what's going to go on with this? Why didn't I just contact you and you say, yeah, send me the watch and we would have never met? Like, okay, all I did was
Right.
type it or whatever the case may
But
be.
I do have an idea for us because I so appreciate your philosophy and the subject that you pick to elaborate on. And I'm the cartoonist who sums it all up in one situation. I have a feeling you and I could create a cartoon book with your philosophy. One on the left side is the text, on the right side is a relating joke pertaining to that subject. That was my inspiration from our conversation and
And
from listening to your podcast.
right, when you listen to the podcast, I was like, wow, everything is weaving. Wow, it's crazy. We have to do this offline. Anyway, does
Yeah,
anybody have any
just
questions
saying.
for Freddie? Anything at all that you'd like to ask him as it relates to anything that we're talking about right now? Please chime in. And if not, that's fine. I wanted to
That,
ask you. Oh, go ahead.
So I have a funny. I'm from Prague
hello.
originally.
Oh,
And
nice to see you.
you mentioned that your mother was such a good cook because she's Hungarian. Well, my grandmother was a very proud Czech, and she said, "Do you know why the courts in Vienna have the best culinary, all the best food?" Well, it's because, of course, all the chefs come from Prague.
Ha ha ha. You know,
Uh,
the Bohemian cuisine, to say it in general, is of course an amazing source of delicious dishes. And in New
Yes.
York, I'm going to a Czech restaurant on the Upper East Side in the 70s, the Pilsner restaurant. My wife and I love Pilsner
Ah,
Urquell, and my partner in Vienna, who I created the normal side with, his family ancestors owned the Pilsner brewery.
wow.
oh my goodness. How
Yes,
amazing.
isn't that crazy?
I had a Pilsner in Plzeň, and I had a Budvar in České Budějovice.
Yes.
And so the connection with the beer, the Czechs are the number one beer drinking nation in the world
I know, and I don't blame them.
because we have the best beer.
I would say so. Although I studied beer in Munich too, and that was not so bad neither.
Yeah, yeah, not so bad. Not so bad. They learned from us.
Of course, somebody has to be the teacher.
Someone has to be the teacher.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, thank you for this wonderful conversation.
Well, thank you too.
Freddie,
Yeah.
I didn't finish the complete thought on this, but if you could give us one or two book recommendations that have kept your mind or your spirit and or your body in line, what would you say?
Ha. Animal Farm,
Animal Farm.
George Orwell.
What a great book. I know it. That's so
I
funny.
insisted upon my boys that they were not big readers, but I said, this one you gotta read.
Yeah.
And then Marcel Proust, in search of the lost time.
In Search of Lost Time?
Yeah, it's called À la recherche du temps perdu.
Ah, okay.
It's actually very deep. And of course, there are some books like War and Peace by Tolstoy, and then
Definitely.
there's some
Definitely.
Sartre. I mean, there's a lot. And then there's one book The Road Less Traveled by Scott Peck,
Yes,
which
yes,
is a great book that makes you understand what the meaning of love really is, that
yes.
it's not only a feeling. The feeling is what comes consequentially when you serve another person and
Interesting.
when you do the love. That's
Action.
also a very action leads to love,
Mm,
because when you cater to another person and you respect them and you help them and you support them like kids, you raise kids, but you have to support them, you have to nurture them. Then what comes back is love, and you feel the love yourself of the
correct.
tree that you grow, you know. And then I would say also that the 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 French, I forgot his name, he Rousseau, with Growing Your Own Garden, also an amazing book.
What was the name of it?
Jean-Jacques Rousseau, he is a philosopher and a writer from the, I think, 17, 1800s. And he was propagating that everybody has to grow a garden because that's the garden of life. This is the nurturing, how you contribute to nature, you contribute to the world. And that is the whole point of our being, that we are there for others and that we nurture them, we support them, we help them grow. And by
Yes.
that virtue, we grow as well.
George Akash. I don't know why I'm not getting the second word you're saying. What was the second name?
Um, Rousseau, Rousseau, he
Oh,
was a
Rousseau.
French writer. Rousseau, yeah.
Okay. And the name was again is what?
It's about growing your garden. I forgot the title of the book because I
Okay.
read it so long ago
Okay.
in high school. And then, of course, The Miserable are also a very good book to read.
Yeah, yeah. Of course.
Yeah.
Of
And
course. You know,
100 Years of Solitude.
100 Years of Solitude.
Yeah. By Marquez, another great book.
Yes, I've heard that title, and I thought it was interesting that you said about the road less traveled, because again, when I talk about people remembering things or little beings remembering details in their early life, as a child, the book, The Road Less Traveled, was on the bookshelf in my house.
See?
Yeah, and I didn't read it fully, but I have now that you said that, that triggered my brain. So I'm going to get that book. I'm going to make sure that I go through it because I think there's a reason why that was in my house.
Yeah. And you know, when we are growing older, maturing, then we read something like that again, and we read it with a very different perspective
Of
because of
course.
our life experience.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, if you want to give any closing thoughts, the time has once again, I like that sentence. Time is, and we go by.
Yeah.
Wow. I love that. I wrote it down. I just said it. It's messing with my head. It's running around
I
inside.
think
Oh,
that's a
I'm
good
sorry.
closing motto, right? That sentence could be a
It
good
is. It is.
farewell to this beautiful conversation.
I apologize. I see a hand that came up. Cece, I'm so sorry. I just wanted to make sure you had got to talk. I didn't see you. Go right ahead.
I just want to say thank you. Thank you for being so transparent and being so generous with us. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's wonderful to connect with people I don't know.
Right. Because now we know each other. It's awesome.
In a
Right.
sense, yes.
Wow. What a powerful, I mean, I could talk to you for another 2 hours and we're gonna meet up and mesh our minds together because we're so close.
Absolutely.
But
But I need to hear your music.
yes, you will hear it and you will come out and listen. So listen, I'm gonna have you back on another day. There's quite a few things I want to speak to you about, and this time is very limited for us. But I know that you dropped some gems because I wrote some of them down, and I hope someone else did as well. I'm gonna make a video online about this watch very soon. That's how
Thank you
much
so
I love
much.
it. That's gonna be amazing. And we always close with our tenets here on the Daily Huddle, the tenets that we walk around with, hopefully in our pocket, in our hearts every day. First is to love deeper than we've loved before in all aspects of our life. Also, to laugh uncontrollably whenever we get the opportunity, because laughter pushes all sorts of things through our body and enhances our endorphins and so on and so forth. Also, just move the body every day, right? Whatever you can do, please move the body. I mean, in a city like New York, it's not a problem for me to walk 12, 13,000 steps a day, but everyone's not in that specific, energy. I understand that, but make that happen for yourself as much as possible. And also, please make sure that in any part of the month or the week, you take a couple days to eat plant-based so that your body feels that vibration, of just being able to digest with no extra energy, just fluidity and soluble foods. It's a really, really good thing to do. And I always say, just give it a shot, right? I'm not the nutritional militia. I'm not at all. I'm just somebody who wants to feel a different way every now and then. And you might go, wow, this is pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Sleep, please sleep a minimum of 6 or 7 hours. And if you can go into the 9, 10, wow, like a baby, why not? Let's do it. Also, stress less, because stress is arguably one of the top culprits for most diseases in our life. And how do we not stress? C 1 through 5 in the tenets, right? And of course, we all need to check ourselves before we wreck ourselves, right? Look at ourselves and say, whoa, this is where I want to be right now. Right now, this is where we're going to be, because we're on the Daily Huddle. And I completely appreciate all of you for coming here. Freddie, I'm going to be blowing up your phone soon. Thank you so much for listening to my podcast. I appreciate you.
I look forward.
And everyone else on the call, have a spectacular day on purpose. Decide that that's what's going to happen for you today on this glorious, crisp Northeastern day. Put your favorite coat on as you go out and feel that energy outside. Walk briskly in this temperature. Thank you so much. I will see you all again next week, but please join us every day. We have a different host every day. We have a different topic Monday through Friday. It is very invigorating, if I do say so myself. I love the other days. And yes, let's make it happen. Thank you so much.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Excellent job. Thank you.